Shalom, when it's of souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Malshah, Bashem, Kakadash, double honor to the apostles of great most, and honor to you brothers doing the work of the most on truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name of whom the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. The Son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, meaning in, meaning that, and Sham, meaning names Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Real quick, this one is these Amalekites, they're basically just trying to provoke more and more, right? They're some of the things they're doing, they're just going above and beyond, right? So this the two events. First one, basically there was an aid truck. You can see the armored the signage on the vehicle saying, hey guys, we're at aid thing, right? And yeah, these Amalekites, guess what they did? They just straight up came and bombed them, right? And basically you've seen that they've paused their operations immediately, right? This particular aid group. And then guess what? People have seen through it. People have seen it, and I'm like, look man, you've nowhere is safe to give aid. So apparently now you've had a major aid ship basically come and say, rather major aid delivery has just basically turned around. So look man, we're not risking our people for this, right? And people are saying this is exactly what they were aiming to do, right? To basically show that, look man, none of you are safe, right? And you're basically gonna get to a point where someone's gonna get peed off, right? Someone's gonna get peed off, right? And then when you then look at what these Amalekites did as well, right? And basically, I'll read this one in the middle. It says Israel bombed the Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria, killing some Iranian officials. The pro-Israel zombies will draw on about how all is fair in war, yada yada yada. When this person said, we're accustomed to Israel operating with impunity, so it doesn't register how anomalous an act like this is. Attacking the embassy of a country they're not at war with, in a country they're also not at war with. It will be like the Russians bombing the embassy, the US embassy in Latvia or Turkey. On the other country in the world behaves this way, right? This person tried to make a counter. It says at least we was in that war, with Belgrade, and stuff like that. So yeah, there's no official declaration of war between the two countries, yet this is what Israel is basically doing. Now let's grab this real quick. Right, this is Matthew 24:6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so this is a rumor of war, because once again we understand that prophecy needs to follow a set way, right? Things need to be fulfilled, and one of the things that needs to be fulfilled is this MOTB being made mandatory, right? Before we can get this full blown, world war, right? That is prophesied of in the scriptures, right? And that will come. Okay, that will come, right? And one of the precepts, I've only got two, real quick, but one of the precepts that I'm gonna get is how these Amalekites are gonna draw America into this wider war, wider war, right? Which eventually is gonna once again lead in the destruction of America. This is the last one once again. Says there is no overstating just how absolutely insane this is. There is no precedent, none of a state deliberately bombing an embassy. It didn't even happen during World War One or Two, or even the 19th century. Now I've not, independently verified this, right? So yeah, I mean, once again, it's the same case, but it was like at least they were at war in Belgrade. Okay, and it says what it says is a violation of what you call it, of norms, right? It says, oh, and that was an interesting one as well. It says there is precedent, but not from a state, from those organizations, T organizations, right? Basically, more and more people just saying, look, man, these Amalekite state is basically behaving in a pariah way. Was that term a pariah state? And that's how they're behaving. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see, how in the coming days, weeks, months, right? These other nations are going to start responding to, that particular state. It says the only other historical instance was NATO bombing the Chinese embassy in Belgrade in '99, killing 3 Chinese journalists, but the US profusely apologized. Clinton publicly said it was a mistake, compensated the families, and paid to rebuild the embassy. Right? It says all this highlighting how profound a taboo this is in international relations. Right? Israel now doing this, and it obviously isn't a mistake, shows just how rogue and unhinged it has become as a state. It's literally becoming beyond the pale on a scale that goes back centuries, even millennia. If the world doesn't forcefully respond to this, it undermines the very core of international relations, the sanctity of diplomacy. Right? So this is, once again, this is was a major event. That was a major event. The killing of aid workers, and the fact that these were Poles, and a Pole, Brits, right? I believe a Canadian as well. Just trying to see. I'm just trying to see whether anyone here says what nations they were. Right, but yeah, basically these were Western nations, right? These were Western nations that were basically, rather Western citizens that were basically killed in this attack, right? And they like talking about no American citizen and this, that, and the other, which I'm not sure for, but it was certainly a Canadian citizen and a British citizen among those that were killed, right? So once again, it'll be interesting how this develops. One to certainly keep an eye on. As Jeremiah 49:20 says, therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that I have taken against Edom, and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Right? And these Amalekites, they're the least of the flock. Right? And once again, the way they're behaving, the way they're looking like a pariah state. Right? Pariah. Okay, so let's see if we can. Pariah state. An outcast, yeah, an outcast, right? Which ultimately that's what these Edomites are anyway. They're, what does it say in Job, the 30th chapter, right? It says, let's jump to the point, right? The Job 30:5 says they were driven forth from among men, right? They cried after them as after a thief. Right, so basically they weren't to be kept close, right? They were to be pushed away, right? And in the kingdom, they're gonna go back to this base state, because what does the scriptures refer to them as? Refers to them as the basest of men, right? And in fact, it touches on that here in verse 8. It says they were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth, right? Yet the Lord has given them power over the nations, right, to be a hammer upon the nations. But what these Amalekites are doing is gonna be a major part in in helping us move towards that third world war. But of course, we know that we're not gonna get that third world war till we get the MOTB. So once again, one to keep an eye out on, as we have been, right? Until the next time we say Shalom.